Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome in to the Bachelor Pad. I, of course, am your host of DFS Bachelor. And man, I was like, man, I haven't done a live Sunday morning show since football season ended. So I figured, hell with it. Let's do an NBA show this Sunday morning. So we're going to go over Fanduel, Draftkings, NBA slate. Obviously, as you can see here, our boy Chris, thanks for being in the chat box so early, being the first one in. And he's absolutely right. The Toronto-Chicago game is postponed tonight. So that game will not be on the slate, so it cuts it down to 7 games tonight. First things first, cheers to you all. Thank you. It's a Sunday fun day. You cannot drink all day if you don't start in the morning. That's just a fact. But I appreciate you all being in here, joining me in the chat box live. If you're watching this after the show, watching this later, still hit that thumbs up, leave a comment. All that stuff still qualifies for our weekly PayPal giveaway. So all that stuff is still in motion. Just like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment in the comment section. I truly appreciate you all so much. Don't forget, in the video description down there, you can click the link, try Draft Dashboard, 30 days for $1. My entire player pool is set there, projections, etc. The hit percentage, tons of research, the lineup optimizer, all that stuff is right there. Again, a big cheers to you all. Thank you all so much for making me a part of your day. I appreciate it. So let's get after it. And then we'll get to some questions after that. So, point guard. Steph Curry's at the top. Lakers are 11th against point guards. Now, their defense obviously takes a bit of a hit without Anthony Davis there. Just the way he protects the rim, etc. It's still a big price tag. Now, can Steph Curry get there? Sure. But you need him to be hitting his threes, especially on DraftKings where you get that half-point bonus. A 37 and a 31 his last 2 games against the Lakers. His last 4 games overall has been very good. Nothing lower than a 46. Just think it's priced up a little bit. Then you've got Trey Young right behind him. Trey Young is dealing with an abductor injury. We'll have to see if he plays. He was a bit of a letdown the other day. I don't mind him if he plays. We'll just have to keep an eye. Look, NBA is fucking crazy this year. You all know it. Like, players in, players out, games postponed, this, that, the third. You need to be – I hate Twitter just as much as the next guy. I'm not – I'm 40 years old. I don't love sitting around on social media. It's probably my least fucking favorite thing to do about this entire job. But if you're not staying up to date on like up to the minute on what's going on, especially with all the back-to-backs that the NBA is scheduled in, of course, there's a lot of moving parts. It's important to follow someone, have a way of getting up to the minute, up to the hour news updates. Otherwise, you risk having a zero. Good morning, DJ, Chris. Thank you guys so much for being in the chat box. I appreciate you all so much. Russell Westbrook, I do like if he plays. It's a back-to-back. He played the last back-to-back. He's been absolutely on fire. He's been a fantasy beast. He's 9-4 on FanDuel. I love that price tag on FanDuel. 10-3 on DraftKings. I still don't mind it just because he fills up the stat sheet. But again, it's a back-to-back. It's against Boston, who could be without Jaylen Brown, making their defense even. Jaylen Brown's a terrific defender, as we know, and they're already minus Marcus Smart. So if you're down with Jaylen Brown and now you're getting, the Peyton Pritchard, Jeff Teague, and Kemba Walker defense on Russell Westbrook, he should absolutely be able to eat a 40 and a 61 in 2 of his last 3 against Boston. But again, we have to make sure that he's going to play. I know Raul Mito got hurt as well, so there's all that unicorn love. Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining the live chat box. Thank you all for being in here. It's really humbling. You guys joined me on a Sunday morning. I know it's a day of relaxation, so I really appreciate it. And thank you, Cody. Good morning to you as well. Cheers. Getting after it. John Wall. I do like John Wall. He's been a bit frustrating for me. He's 8-8 on FanDuel, 8-3 on DraftKings. Memphis is 23rd against opposing point guards. It pays down a little bit, but again, looks like no Victor Oladipo today. So John Wall is going to be an important piece of the puzzle, obviously, and he's got the 50-point upside. He's also got that floor, in the 20s, which he does to us sometimes. De'Aaron Fox against Charlotte. There's some fantasy goodness in this Sacramento-Charlotte game. Both teams play at a decent pace. It's paced up slightly for Charlotte. They're 18th against opposing point guards. These 2 teams are the 2 worst teams against opposing small forwards. So, we'll get to it as well. But the Harrison Barnes and the Gordon Haywards and LaMelo Ball, those guys are all in play. I like love the price for LaMelo on FanDuel. He's 7-6 on FanDuel. Way too cheap on FanDuel. Now, DraftKings, he's 8,800. You might be like, okay, that's a little spendy for LaMelo on DraftKings. It's tough to get there. Sacramento is 22nd against opposing point guards, etc. They're just a terrible defense all around. Whiteside will be out again, so they won't have that anchor off the bench on the interior. So there's some stuff there to consider. Chris Paul, 7-5 on Fanduel, 7-8 on DraftKings. Just anybody against Minnesota, especially when Karl-Anthony Towns plays, because they become exponentially worse as a team defense when Karl-Anthony Towns is on the floor. He's one of the worst team defenders in the history of the NBA. And that's legit. The numbers back that up. He's absolutely horrific when it comes to just defense in general, team defense especially. So Chris Paul, look, they're not going to have Malik Beasley for the next 12 games. He got busted for being a freak during the offseason, holding a gun to people and just for no fucking reason whatsoever, just being a psychopath. Of course, D'Angelo Russell's gone. So, it's going to be Ricky Rubio in a revenge spot and, or, you know what I mean? So against Phoenix, and it's going to be, the rookie Edwards and Jalen McDaniels, just like all these just fucking dog shit players that Minnesota has. So Chris Paul absolutely in play, and I love his price on both sides. Kemba Walker against Washington, any guard against Washington. Washington gives up a ton of fantasy points. It's paced up big time. Washington plays at they're one of the faster teams in the league. Boston, not. So this is paced up. They allow the third most fantasy points to opposing point guards. He's 6'8" on both sides. Kemba Walker coming off a massive game the other day. We talked about Jaylen Brown. Could miss. He's certainly battling a little bit of an injury there. So Kemba Walker becomes interesting to me as well. Dennis Schroeder against Steph Curry. I don't mind it. 39, 29, 34 in his last 3 games against Golden State. Just came back from the health protocol situation, so he should be fairly rested. And, of course, no AD. So the number 2 scoring option for that team behind LeBron needs to be Dennis Schroeder. He's got some 50-point upside, so I don't hate it. Derrick Rose, it is a back-to-back for the Knicks. Going up against Detroit, obviously the team that Derrick Rose just came from, a little bit of a revenge narrative there. They weren't giving him a ton of minutes with Elfrid Payton being out. He and Dennis Smith Jr. have been getting all the minutes in the backcourt, and Derrick Rose has not disappointed. He's still sitting there at 5,700. He's probably going to be fairly chalky. He'll be one of the higher-owned players. But no, Derrick Rose is certainly in play, getting that Dennis Smith Jr. and Saban Lee defense. Yeah, you can sign me up for that. Goran Dragic was huge for me the other day. As long as Tyler Hero continues to miss, Goran Dragic is going to see his minutes anyways, and then you have no Tyler Hero. That's going to make things even better for Goran Dragic. Oh, yeah, and Atlanta allows the most fantasy points to opposing point guards. I like Goran Dragic quite a bit, and he's always lower owned because he comes off the bench, right? So people, I get all the time, oh my God, Goran Dragic has a 0. It's like, well, he hasn't fucking came into the game yet, dude. Like, relax. Take a breath. He's going to play the crucial minutes at the end of each half, especially in the fourth quarter. He's going to see plenty of minutes. He's going to have a high usage rate. The ball's going to be in his hands, especially if there's no Tyler Hero. Like Goran Dragic is going to have a huge burden off the bench. I like his price tag. He hits 5 times value 63% of the time at that price tag on DraftKings at 5.4, just to give you an example. Dennis Smith Jr. has not been terrible the last 3 games, and I'm not a Dennis Smith Jr. fan. I think he's absolutely horrific on the basketball court. But the fact of the matter is, there's definitely revenge spot against the Knicks. Last time, a few years back, when he played for Dallas and played the Knicks, he did put up a 43. It's a much different scenario now. But nonetheless, he's starting. He's getting 25 minutes, a 34 and a 30 in his last 2 games, so there is some upside there. Good morning, Patrick Bush. I appreciate you being in the chat box. I appreciate you all. Again, cheers to you all. Good morning, good morning. Sunday fun day. Let's have some drinks, talk some NBA. Ricky Rubio is going to see a ton of minutes. Look, he's the only guy with experience in that backcourt. Plain and simple. Jordan McLaughlin and everyone else. I don't even think Jarrett Culver is going to play today. So, it's Ricky Rubio. 5-1 Fanduel is too cheap. 6-1 DraftKings is starting to push it. Kendrick Nunn against Atlanta. Yeah, I don't mind it as long as Tyler Hero is going to remain out and he's going to continue to start and get 30 minutes. Any guard against Atlanta, who again allows the most fantasy points to point guards. Again, we'll have to see if Elf Payton plays. It's a hamstring issue. If not, Derrick Rose, of course, and Dennis Smith Jr. continue on the path of seeing all those minutes in the backcourt. Let's see. What else do we like down here? Nito. I thought he left the game yesterday hurt, so we'll have to see there, but I'm not playing him today in the back-to-back. Jeff Teague, I just don't ever play him. Now, if Jaylen Brown misses and they decide to start Jeff Teague, he's 3,500 on DraftKings, so I could go there. He did have that 33 the other day when he started, and it is Washington, who absolutely stinks defensively. So keep an eye on the Jaylen Brown situation. 3.5 Jeff Teague on DraftKings is pretty enticing considering the upside. Rondo, if Trey Young misses, I like Rondo. A whole lot. I know. I agree. I mean, these players, they should just walk around in a bubble. It's absolutely maddening. This has been the most challenging for me mentally in terms of staying motivated to cover and play NBA DFS just because of how soft the players are, how terrible the scheduling has been. Man, it's frustrating. The NBA is frustrating this year. It's hard to enjoy the NBA this year just because of all the nonsense. So I agree with your premise there, Sincere Miller. Absolutely. Some value guys at point guard, like Peyton Pritchard, we talked about it, could see 30 minutes. He still stinks in terms of fantasy. Like, I probably wouldn't play him anyways. See, he just got a 15 and 30 minutes. Like, thank you, Tony Snell. I'll fucking pass. Maybe DeAnthony Melton against Houston. Jordan McLaughlin against Phoenix. Again, we talked about the backcourt issues for Minnesota. Jalen Noel has been getting minutes for Minnesota. Look, Minnesota just plays some dog shit players. I don't know what else to say. Jalen Noel, okay, played 25 minutes in the last game. He put up a 30. He's sitting there at 3.7 and 3.8. So I suppose I could go there. Alex Caruso has this, high 20s upside. He's done that in 2 of his last 3. So I suppose if you're looking for a tournament dart throw, we could go there as well. Let's go to shooting guards, shall we? I can pull it up. So, let's go to shooting guard. More crazy shit from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Like, I appreciate that, Sincere Miller. It's just that's how it fucking is. Bradley Beal, back-to-back against Boston. Boston third against point guards. Here's the thing. Bradley Beal, I call it getting Bealed. He'll just absolutely fuck you over. I can't do it. I can't pay the over 9K. If he gets into the 8K range, I'll play Bradley Beal, but there's nothing worse than playing Bradley Beal at this price. You sit there and he gets like 2.5 points in the first quarter, and you're just, I can't do it. I think it's a tough matchup. Maybe if Jaylen Brown is out or they rest Russell Westbrook on the back end of on the second leg of a back-to-back, then maybe, but I'm not racing to play Bradley Beal. I'd much rather pay 7.7 for Devin Booker, 8K on DraftKings. Minnesota, fourth from the bottom in terms of fantasy points allowed to opposing shooting guards, a 41 and a 62 in his last 2 games against the Timberwolves. Again, the Timberwolves stink defensively, especially with Karl Anthony Towns. I can only say it so many times. He's the worst. He's such a fucking god-awful defender, and it doesn't make any sense, but he does. He sucks so bad. So it's a boost. Like, it's disappointing when you play Minnesota players and Towns is out because, like, oh, they're actually going to play better defense. You know what I mean? So just is what it is. Terry Rozier, I like his price on FanDuel. I hate that price on DraftKings. I'm not paying 7.3 on DraftKings for it, or 7.9, excuse me, on DraftKings for Terry Rozier. There's absolutely no way in hell I am doing that. But 6.8 on FanDuel against Sacramento, who, again, stinks defensively. He's getting that, and they're probably going to be without Tyrese Halliburton again. He's getting that De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield defense. Like, De'Aaron Fox, he might leave I don't mind De'Aaron Fox. I like him, but he's one of those guys, he gets a tummy ache and he leaves the game, one of those soft, just fucking, oh God, like, what the hell happened to you? Like, why are you so weak physically? I don't understand it. What up, Akbar? Thanks for joining the chat box. But Rozier, FanDuel, yes. DraftKings, no. You can see he would hit 5 times value at his price on FanDuel, 47% of the time. But on DraftKings, only 33% of the time. It's because he's priced up too high, even though it is a good matchup. Wiggins against the Lakers. There was a time a few years back where Andrew Wiggins against the Lakers was an automatic play. He would torch the Lakers. That's not the case. He's going to have to cover LeBron. I'll pass on Andrew Wiggins. Anthony Edwards, I know he's had a couple of back-to-back good games. Bottom line is Phoenix is really, really good defensively against opposing guards. Number 1 in the entire league. And I don't fucking trust Anthony Edwards. He absolutely burned me. And I'm just not going back to the well. I'm not a big Anthony Edwards fan. 44 and 36 his last 2 games. That's good. I'll pass. I think he's too pricey, especially on DraftKings at 6.8. No fucking way in hell. Josh Jackson. Now, look, this is a game between 2 teams who play at a snail's pace, and you have to expect that from the Knicks. It's Tom Thibodeau. He's not going out there playing the 7 seconds or less offense. Tom Thibodeau is a boring, defensive-minded, gruff type of coach. The good news is, though, as opposed to those idiots who used to coach the Knicks, Jeff Hornacek, whom I play NBA jams to still go and punch Jeff Hornacek in the face because he was such an annoying fucking coach with the Knicks. And, of course, David Fizdale, probably the worst head coach in the history of the NBA. But now Thibodeau at least plays his players. So it's not like we have to wonder, is he going to play a starting center 12 minutes or 38 minutes? we're getting a normal rotation. Josh Jackson against the Knicks, who are good, better defensively, and these teams play at a snail's pace. But again, with Blake Griffin gone and Delon Wright gone and Sadiq Bey's in and out battling the injury, Josh Jackson's getting about 30 minutes off the bench. He could get there at 5'7" and 6'2", so I don't mind that. And then after, like Emmanuel quickly, no, I don't care who's out, who's not out. I know he had one good game, total fluke. Eric Gordon on Fanduel against Memphis, 5'3". I don't mind that. He's 6K on DraftKings. It's a bit high, but I do like the Fanduel price. Kevin Huerter could be interesting. Kevin Huerter, it just seems like when I play him, he comes through for me. Got me a 39 the other day. And keep an eye on the Trey Young situation. If Trey Young is out, it's going to be a higher usage rate, of course, for Kevin Huerter. Miami, 23rd against opposing shooting guards. Tony Snell's been starting for Atlanta, and I got to tell you, I don't fucking get it. Tony Snell is the worst fantasy player, might be the worst NBA player ever. I mean, he's just absolute. The fact that they have Danilo Gallinari, and I don't like, just call up the coach's grandma and start her. She will do more on the court than Tony Snell does. Tony Snell is an absolute travesty. So I don't care if he's starting. You go ahead and put him in. You'll see that check mark and you'll want to play him. Absolutely never, ever, ever will I ever, ever have Tony Snell in one of my DFS lineups. I don't give a shit if Jesus Christ himself comes down on a fucking white horse and tells me that Tony Snell is going to No Tony Snell for me. Even if he does get the start there in Atlanta, I will pass on that. If you guys could do me a favor too, if you're watching live, hit the like button. I really appreciate that. That helps me out a lot. Don't forget, throw your questions in there. I'll try to answer your questions as we go along. In terms of value down here at the 2 guard, I mean, there's not much. Iguodala has been okay lately. KCP, you'll see 25 minutes. It's pretty ugly down here. Cody Martin did get the start the other day for Charlotte. He's down here at 3,300. He played 24 minutes and got an 18. So if they go ahead and start him again in Charlotte again, they have no competitive integrity at all in Charlotte. I don't know what the hell is going on, but they're throwing out Cody Martin and Bismack Biyombo like it's going out of style. And it's not. It's not. Don't make. And by the way, Cody Martin's brother, apparently Caleb Martin, I believe, is still out with the protocols, his twin brother, but it's Cody would be the one that you would want to play there at shooting guard. We'll go to small forwards. LeBron, yes, he was an absolute window licker the other night for me. Then he bounced back the other day and put up a 71. I unfortunately played him on that night when he had a 29. That was a lot of fun, but it's against Golden State. They're 23rd against small forwards. Again, no Anthony Davis, so the usage rate for LeBron is going to be through the roof. Assists, scoring, rebounding, steals, block shots, it's all there. The upside's there. Of course, you like LeBron. Jimmy Butler against Atlanta, absolutely. 47, 54, and 55 in his last 3 against Atlanta. Talked about their defensive struggles, and they could be without Trey Young, so I do like Jimmy Butler quite a bit. Jaylen Brown, again, we'll have to see. It's a little knee issue. We're not sure if he plays today. If he does, got to like it against Washington. He's always a bit overpriced. He's always at this 8-4 range, and he hits 5 times value about 35% of the time at that price. So it's an improper pricing, but they refuse to fix it. So that's that. Keep an eye on that situation. Could make Kemba Walker, Jason Tatum, those guys a little bit more valuable. Kelly Oubre has been on a tear. It's getting a little expensive, 7.5 and 7.2. I think it's too high. Then we get to Gordon Hayward. Oh, God, Gordon Hayward has the worst contract in the NBA, doesn't he? Or one of the worst. Why would you want to pay Gordon Hayward max money? He's not a max player. He's above average player. He's 7'1 and 7'4. He's about in the right price range. He does have 45, 50-point upside. Sacramento does allow the second most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. The only team that allows more points to opposing small forwards is Charlotte with Harrison Barnes. So Harrison Barnes in that matchup, I like that as well. He's sitting there at 6'5". Charlotte and Sacramento in that game, the 2 worst defenses against opposing small forwards. Hachimura, a little pricey. Gallinari's too expensive. He had one good fucking game, and they're like, okay, we'll raise his price to 1,000 and just keep it there. And he even came back with a 17. They don't care. It's too pricey. Now, if Trey Young is out or they throw him in the starting lineup instead of Tony and Snell, which is just maddening to me. I don't mind Michael Bridges at 5'5 and 5'3 on DraftKings against Minnesota. I think that's a decent play. I can't do the RJ Barrett thing anymore. I just can't do it. Sadiq Bey on FanDuel at 5'1 I think is decent. Malik Monk With Devontae Graham out, he's really been getting some minutes lately, and he has not disappointed. Over 27-4 out of his last 5 games. So I do like that. A 42 in his last game against Sacramento. Again, Sacramento struggles against the position. So I do like Malik Monk a little bit on Fanduel at 4.9. Even 5.3 DraftKings is okay. Duncan Robinson, I just don't play him very often. He does look at his last 3 against Atlanta. 15, then 47, and then 14. And that's Duncan Robinson. If he hits 8 threes, yeah, he's going to smash value. But if he doesn't, he's not going to get there. So I don't really bother. I do like, of course, the backcourt matchup against Atlanta. For some value guys down here, Daniel House, especially on FanDuel at 4.5. I probably wouldn't pay the 5.3, but he's getting over 30 minutes a game. Again, no Victor Oladipo makes him much more valuable. He, Gordon, David Nwaba, those sorts of people. That's really it for down here. I guess if you want to, like, once in a while, Garrison Matthews can get there. He starts for Washington. He's at 3,500, I suppose, but you really got to hate yourself for that. I don't have a core just yet. Yeah, they made a major mistake. That sucks. That's why you really just gotta I'll have those things out. Like Unicorn Love. Like I don't put out information unless it's confirmed. So like I heard a lot about that saying Jamal Murray out, and then he wasn't. That's why you got to confirm it, because some of those sites, I'm not trying to bash those sites because I know they're working hard, but they just get shit wrong. That's just what they do, and that's why it's really important to verify the information. That's why when I release something, I verify it, and I only do it if it's important. Like if I get a notification, hey, Gabe Vincent to play tonight, I don't tweet that out to you guys, because why the fuck would you care if Gabe Vincent is going to play, right? Like it just makes no sense. Like no one cares if Gabe Vincent's going to play, and I get bombarded with those, so I sort of filter those out. I'm sorry that happened. That totally sucks. Mr. Sly Yates, I just honestly I haven't, or is that Mrs. Sly Yates? I'm not really sure if I'm saying that right, but I haven't made a lineup yet. I haven't made a core yet. I woke up, got stuff ready, and just was trying to get like a player pool set up and get some stats on there. And, you know, really in today's NBA, I don't start making those sort of cores until later in the day, because one injury can change everything. So, and that's happening a lot in the NBA this year. Power forward, Jason Tatum at the top, 9.4 and 9.1. I'm not a big Jason Tatum DFS player. He doesn't smash value enough for me, and he's always priced over 9K. He's a lot like Kawhi Leonard in that sense, and Bradley Beal. I kind of have all those guys kind of lumped together. Do they have the ability to get there? Sure. They just don't do it enough. Washington does struggle against the position. Obviously, Washington's a terrible defensive team. If Jaylen Brown is out, that makes him a little bit more enticing, and I'll consider it more. Of course, hits value 46 and 50% of the time at that price. Julius Randle against Detroit. Detroit allows the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Julius Randle has got to be the most improved like fantasy player this year, and it's really just because he's getting a ton of opportunity and getting a ton of minutes. Thibodeau really is playing him a ton. Again, it's a paced down game, but slowed down, paced down games, I like big men in that. Why? Well, that usually means you're getting some bad shooting teams. Both these teams, neither one of these teams are good shooting teams. So extra rebounds, sloppy play. They're going to get the ball into the post. So he's going to have a usage rate in the 30s. I mean, 29, 33, and 30 the last 3 games. He hits value at his price on both of these sites 62% of the time. So Julius Randle, even though it's a back-to-back for the Knicks, is in a good spot. Bam. I like Bam against Atlanta. They are 7th against centers, power forwards, but a 70 and a 62 his last 2 games against Atlanta. 8.7, 8.9. I don't mind Bam Adebayo. Draymond is too expensive. I know he's been on a little roll, but I'm not paying that price. And even though there's no Anthony Davis, God, that's awfully expensive. And we know Draymond's history with LeBron. Hopefully LeBron's wearing his cup today. John Collins, 6.7 on DraftKings, I think is too cheap. Now, it's a different Atlanta team. He's not their number 2 scoring option anymore. I suppose he is. But again, with Capella now cleaning up some of the rebounds and stuff, the interior scoring, Trey Young, of course, Huter and Gallinari off the bench, he's not used as much as he has been in the past. 49, 32, and 35 his last 3 against the Miami Heat. And I like the price on DraftKings, 6.7, under 7K for a guy with 40, 50-point upside, I think is legit. Marvin Bagley just doesn't play enough minutes for me to pay $6K for him. I just don't do it. Now, I know occasionally he'll go out there and get that 48 like he did 5 games ago, and that's great when you can land on that. But good morning, Derek. Thank you for joining the show, my brother. I appreciate that. But it's like, look, at this price, at Marvin Bagley's price at 6'2", he would have hit 5 times value 26% of the time. That's just not enough for me. It's a great matchup. Charlotte allows the second most fantasy points to the position, but he just doesn't play enough minutes. I'd much rather pay for the minutes of PJ Washington than Marvin Bagley. PJ Washington's going to play more minutes, and he's got that more consistent in the 30s and 40s. I don't know. It's yikes. Both those guys, I'll have some slight exposure to both. I definitely won't play Kyle Kuzma. I don't play him ever around that price. If he was like 38 or 42, I'd consider it. Kyle Kuzma sucks, man. I'm a Lakers fan. I love the Lakers. I'm not a big Kyle Kuzma guy. I just don't think he's all that good. Jayshawn Tate, real inconsistent, real young guy. He's a rookie, obviously. They like what they see in him. That's why they let Boogie Cousins go. He's going to see a ton of minutes in the front court. Did put up a 38 earlier this year against Memphis. Memphis 20-30 against power forwards. Nerlens Noel played 41 minutes yesterday at center. He's going to get you right in those mid-20s, and that's where he's priced at. So, I suppose he's an okay cash game player if you're looking just for 5X, but the massive upside hasn't really been there since taking over for Mitchell Robinson. Tice wildly up and down. Now it's Washington, so it really is time to trade Kuzma. He's just an awful defender, inconsistent shooter, kind of a mental midget. Not really into it. Yeah, I like PJ Washington too. It's just I feel a lot. I trust PJ Washington more than I do Marvin Bagley, and they both have a good matchup. So, it's probably pretty equal. But yeah, I do like PJ Washington. Tice against Washington. I mean, you could see it. His last 4 games, 24, 14, a 3, and then a 34. So he can get there, and it's a good matchup against Washington. I just see. And then it gets Isaiah Stewart, 3,400 for Detroit. Look, he's played 18, 18, and 21 minutes the last 3 games, put up a 31 and 25 his last 2. In fact, over 25 in 3 of his last 4. He's 3,400 on DraftKings. I won't pay the 4.6 on Fanduel. No, that's a stupid price. But the 3.4 on DK, I'll take a tournament sniff at that. He gets 25 or 30. He just hit fucking 8, 9X. Yeah, sign me up for that. Thanks, Matt. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you, brother. And yeah, get some Baileys. I actually have a little morning drink, little morning cocktail with some vodka and stuff this morning. That's how we're rocking and rolling here at the Bachelor Pad. Jared Vanderbilt. This is a guy who's been really frustrating this year. The good news is without Beasley, etc., his minutes seem to be secure. He's played 34 and 23 minutes the last 2 games, a 36 and a 31. Now, this guy is wildly inconsistent, but he's cheap, he's starting, and he's got that 30-point upside at 4.4 and 4.6, so I do like Jared Vanderbilt. Davis Bertans, as long as he plays the second leg of a back-to-back, he's got the upside. He's been battling injuries all year, and he's really regressed. Davis Bertans has gone backwards, in my opinion. But again, 4.3 Fanduel, I'll take a chance. 4.8 DraftKings, bad price. So you're going to see players who are properly priced on one site and they're priced shitty on another. Just how they do things here. Bertans would be a Fanduel play for me, not DraftKings. PJ Tucker, he's going to continue to start at center. He's going to play 30-plus minutes. You guys all know the routine with PJ Tucker. Can play 30 minutes and get you a 9 like he just did 2 games ago, or play 33 minutes and get you a 27. It's frustrating. But he's 4K, and if you're looking for minutes, you're looking for opportunity, PJ Tucker is your guy. Gets a couple steals and a block shot. He's probably going to get you to some value. Some other guys, Markieff Morris has been starting for the Lakers, not playing a ton of minutes, not a ton of upside there, but he's 3.4. I suppose that's a fine cash game play on DraftKings at 3,400. All he needs to do is get you to about 17, which he's been doing relatively easily. Jaden McDaniels, oh God, nope. That's it. There's nothing else there. Other than that, it's just ugly on the way down. And let's go to the center position, shall we? So we got Towns versus Ayton. Phoenix is 9th against opposing centers. Towns destroys this kid, though. His last 5 games against Phoenix, 60, 61, 64, 55, 58. Towns, you could play him. 10K, 10-1. Terrible defender, excellent offensive player, and good for fantasy. So that's just how that works. Clint Capella against Miami. I'll probably pass there. I like Jay Val against Houston. Now, the one concern is that Houston goes really small and just runs Valanciunas off the court. But if they don't have anyone who can guard him. Christian Wood is still out. They're going to be playing PJ Tucker. I mean, Jonas Valanciunas is 1.5 feet taller than PJ Tucker. Like, he's much, much, much bigger than PJ Tucker. All the rebounds. He should have all the rebounds in the world that he wants. If he's making a shot, he's got that 50-point upside. He's sitting there at 7'4". In fact, he hits 5 times value at that price on DraftKings 58% of the time. So, yeah, I do like Jonas Valanciunas quite a bit. DeAndre Ayton against Karl Anthony Towns. Again, Minnesota allows the most fantasy points to opposing centers. We talked about Karl Anthony Towns' struggles defensively. Now, here's the concern. If you play DeAndre Ayton, you worry about him getting in foul trouble trying to defend Towns. That's the concern. But if he can stay on the court and play his usual 30 minutes, he's 7K on both sides. And again, no team allows more fantasy points to opposing centers than Minnesota. No center is a worse defender in the league than Karl Anthony Towns. So you can make the case both ways. Look, if you look up and he's got 11 at the half and 3 fouls, you're frustrated, and rightfully so. If that doesn't happen, if he's able to stay out of foul trouble, he should be able to have a nice, productive game against Karl Anthony Towns. Rashawn Holmes against Charlotte. So we just talked about it. Minnesota allows the most fantasy points to centers. You know who allows the second most? That's right, the Charlotte Hornets. A 42 and a 34 in his last 2 games against Charlotte. He's 6'6" and 6'5". I do like Rashawn Holmes quite a bit. The Montrezl Harrell thing, I'm just not over 6K. I know he's, some days he can play 25 minutes and get a 45. Other days it's a 14. He makes me nervous. He's a better play now that Anthony Davis is out, obviously, but nonetheless, I would temper my expectations there. Fanduel has Marc Gasol all the way up to 5,200. I don't know who's smoking fucking crack over there, but that is a ridiculous price. As a matter of fact, if he had been priced at that price all year, he would hit 5 times value 12% of the time. It's the worst number on the board. Like, what the fuck are they thinking? Marc Gasol, nope, pass. Maybe at the 4-1 price on DraftKings. Tristan Thompson, 4,500 on DraftKings. Washington allows the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing centers. So I don't mind Tristan Thompson either. Some value guys, maybe Kelly Olynyk against Atlanta. I don't mind that, getting 30 minutes. He can be maddening, but he's got some upside, especially if that 3-point shot is falling. He's been ice cold from 3 over the last couple weeks. Something like 2 of 47 or some just awful shooting. But if he gets hot, and that's what happens in the NBA, we've seen it a million times, right? A guy's cold. They're cold for a couple weeks, and then bam, they go off for fucking, Gasol should be 3K or 2K. You're absolutely right. I don't understand that should happen sometimes. And sometimes it's a typo. Like you've seen it. If you've played this long enough, it happens a few times where there'll just be this random bench player who's never played a minute his entire NBA career, and he's at 7,900. And you like, and 4% of people playing because there's a lot of casual fans who don't watch shows like this or have no clue what they're doing. They're just throwing their money in there. Like, I guarantee you, people will pay the 5K for Marc Gasol tonight. It won't be a ton, but there's going to be some window lickers out there who throw it in and feel good about it. And well, that'll be on them. And that's why we're able to eat them. That's what we do. That's really it for me at value at center. There's nothing else. If for some reason Zeller's injury pops back up and they throw in Bismack Biyombo to start, I suppose, against Sacramento, but that's doesn't seem likely. We'll have to see if Zeller plays. Last time, instead of starting Bismack Biyombo, they just went ahead and started Cody Martin and put PJ Washington at center. So that's most likely what they'll do again. Again, I'll have that up on my Twitter feed. You can follow me at DFS Bachelor. So that's our show. Any questions before I get the hell out of here since we're live? If you guys have any questions, feel free to do it. If not, we will get the hell out of here. Don't forget my player pool and lineup optimizer and all that research stuff, articles, cheat sheets. That stuff's in the video description below at Draft Dashboard. If you're watching this on replay, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, leave a comment in the comment section. We do the $50 PayPal giveaway every week. We'll announce that winner Monday. Sandra, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. That's humbling, and I appreciate you saying that. Cheers to you all. I appreciate you all so much. May the fantasy gods be with you all. Good luck tonight. Let's drink. You can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning, so we're going to rock and roll with that. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you again for joining us live in the chat box. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you tomorrow for Monday's NBA slate as well. Maybe I'll do it live like this again because it's kind of fun having you guys in the chat box, so maybe I'll just keep doing it like this. Thank you all again so much. Goodbye, folks.